Today, we are breaking down every single pick that's happened so far in the first 2 days of the 2025 NFL Draft. We're going to be doing, of course, a little review of day one. I did a little bit of a deep dive over yesterday, so feel free to check that one out as well for a little bit more in-depth information. But the Steelers start out with Derek Harmon. Something very unfortunate happened. His mom, who has been dealing with some stuff for some time, ended up going to a coma last night, but she ended up unfortunately passing away. So our condolences go out to Harmon and the rest of his family. But on top of that, he was at least able to say that he was drafted by the Steelers, apparently. Do not confirm that from me. This is just coming from some other sources. But, at least, when my parents also feel this way, they want to be able to, have their kids succeed. So I'm very happy that, at least they ended up having that moment. And I know that she'll be super happy for Derek, and I hope he continues to prove her right even after her passing. So super excited to have someone on the team that is going to be an awesome guy. And, it just sucks that the situation is what it is. Caleb Johnson at 83 was fantastic. I'm not super high on Caleb Johnson. Never really was, but I do think for this system, he is a great fit. So I really am happy with how this ended up turning out for us. Overall, there's not enough picks to give you a favorite and a least favorite, but I do think overall they did a fantastic job so far. Even though it was semi-underwhelming, it was just still very good players with very good value. And the Baltimore Ravens, Eric DeCosta continued to do his shit. Malachi Starks, incredible value. Obviously, he was wonderful. And then Mike Green, off-field stuff pushed him down a little bit, apparently because of his answers and interviews not being satisfactory to certain teams about his background stuff. It ended up pushing him down boards. Hopefully it's just because he didn't have very good answers that ended up pushing him down rather than him actually having some stuff off the field. But regardless, I'm terrified as a Steelers fan where we don't have legitimate tackle play. Then we have Emory Jones at 91. I think it was a bit early for Emory, even though at the start of the year, he was a top 10, 15 player. Hopefully we can get that back with him. Well, we in the Ravens, even though as a Steelers fan, I just want all these guys to be successful. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up fitting in. But continuing on, we get the Cincinnati Bengals here. Start out with Shamar Stewart. It was a pick that I ended up making in my final mock draft. I think Shamar Stewart fits exactly what this organization looks for in edge rushers, and I'm excited to see him work with Al Golden, who is able to make RJ Oben into a championship-level edge rusher. Then you got Tyrice Knight, and it was just a little bit early for me. Same thing with Dylan Fairchild. Like, both of those picks are good players. They fit needs, they fit value, but just the value's a little bit out of the range where I was super comfortable with it. So that's why I ended up dropping the grades a little bit. Both of those guys were C+, Shamar Stewart a B, ended up being a B- because I still think in totality, you're getting something good there. Tyrice Knight, a high floor linebacker, but he's older. He's 25. Dylan Fairchild, I said he was the elite backup guard. Did not really see him being a full-time starter, but he was the guy who I wanted backing up my starters. So maybe he ends up developing into that player who is a pure starter, but regardless, you're getting someone who should be on a 53 for a long time. The Browns ended up making that big move back, and, I ended up not loving the Mason Graham thing. I ended up boosting up a little bit more because I like how Schwartz is going to be able to use Mason Graham, but then you get Carson Schwezinger in there. It might open up the future options with his mobility to be able to not have to pay so much in your linebacking core. I don't 100% know, but, former high school alumnus from the same high school. So apparently he was a classmate, not of my year, but, 2 or 3 years lower than me. So I never got the chance to meet the guy, but regardless, he goes at number 33, freak athlete. At number 36, you went Quinshawn Judkins, and this is a reliable 3-down back who should be getting 15 to 20 touches a game. It fits the mantra of what the Browns should be doing. Harold Van at 67 is incredible value. He's someone who I had being well worth a round 2 pick, and you get to utilize him in the way that you use already with your tight ends. I think this is a match made in heaven. And then at number 94, the craziest thing is you went Dylan Gabriel, and I don't think you need to do that. Like, Dylan Gabriel's a fun quarterback. It's going to be hard to see with the size of offensive lineman that you have that he's going to be successful there, but it is almost like a knife in the back to Shedeur. And I'm not going to go to bat for Shedeur Sanders. Like, I know that he has plenty of ego to be able to handle any of this. So I'm not really going to be the one to try to, let's elevate the kid. No, but you still took a quarterback, and I don't really know if it moves your franchise at all. I'm just going to be honest. None of these picks really move me except maybe Quinshawn and Harold. Like, Quinshawn and Fannin, those are the moves that I think can make the legitimate impact. Obviously, Mason Graham can as well. But I'm just looking at it. And I'm not seeing a super impactful draft class so far. And that's what terrifies me with the amount of picks that you've had. The Bears are next. You got Colson Loveland at 10. Fan of that one because the more I thought about it, the more I think he's going to be a Laporta on this team, and that's going to work out very well given his style. Luther Burden is next, and excellent value. Your slot is wide open. Loveland will, I guess, be used as that inline tight end, but again, uses Laporta, I think it will work. So Luther Burden, BPA in the slot, big fan of that. Ozzy Trapilo is an interesting one. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Ozzy Trapilo. He's a top 20 player on my board. I loved him at right tackle. He took some reps at the Senior Bowl quite well at left tackle. So the future, honestly, is wide open for him on the left side. So curious to see where that goes, but that's a longer term investment. And then Shamar Turner at 62 was the one where I really didn't see it. Shamar's a good player, a very solid player. But he's a day 3 or late day 2 type of guy to me. At 62, I was like, oh, man, you had 3 picks. And, I could see 3 of them working very well. But edge rusher was right there. There were plenty of guys. And I was a little bit let down, I must admit. But regardless, a really good class overall. B is certainly respectable. The Packers are going to continue to packer. And guys, if I did end up missing something, please feel free to call it out. I'll end up regrading it in the comments section for you. I have it all graded out. I'm just trying to do graphics and get this out to you guys as soon as possible while also having some good quality. Mistakes happen. But regardless, Matt Golden, Anthony Belton, Savion Williams. It's a full roller coaster here. Matt Golden was like right there, perfect for Jordan Love, and especially with your receiving core. I do like the idea of going 2 receivers. I'm not a fan of Savion Williams. He was outside of my top 200, but I do think that you could utilize him properly, and I'm hoping that you can. Just knock on wood, it works, but Anthony Belton's the fun one. You get to develop him for a year, even though he's a little bit on the older side. That's not something that really becomes an issue because tackles play, if you're really that good, into your 30s. I think that he's shown enough promise to where I'm not really worried about the age. So you guys are, basically going to be saving a good amount of money by doing that. And good draft overall. Good draft. But Detroit Lions are next. And the thing is, I really love the Tyreek move, right? Just high floor, fills a need, really good value, really good player. Then we go to pick 57, and you ended up giving up a noticeable amount of capital. You moved back 100 spots. I think it was from 130 to 230 to move up a short range. And I'm like, it's a bit expensive, but it's still a good player, right? Tate Ratledge is going to be a potential starter on your team. That makes sense. It's pick 70 that I was like, what in the hell happened here? First off, the pick itself, even if you had that pick and you just took him, it's still an F grade. You spent three third-round picks to get someone who might have been a UDFA. I hate to say it. He's a gym rat. Cool. Since when has gym rat transitioned to football more than football? I hate to say it. Like, yeah, they work together. But he did not do much at Arkansas, and I pray to God that I am wrong. But you exercised the 5th-year option on JMO, and then you spent 3 third-round picks for this. I don't get what the hell you're doing. I very easily could have given this an F because of that alone. But I like the first 2 picks that you got. I just don't love the fact that you're saying, hey, screw our picks. We don't care. And you got to manage your capital, and capital is both in personnel as well as draft capital. And then also money too. But Minnesota Vikings are next. They only had 2 picks, Donovan Jackson as well as Ty Felton. I like Donovan Jackson's move. Ty Felton, still a player who I really liked, so glad to see him get the love and respect that he deserves. I thought he was getting very heavily prospect fatigued. He was pretty much unguardable at the Senior Bowl, so it's good to see him get the respect that I thought he deserved. Overall, both moves that were like B to B minus range. Don't see this being massively impactful, but I still think that, Donovan Jackson's going to be a huge help, and Ty Felton could end up carving out some reps, which I do like. Maybe he'll end up, it's like on the positive side of B minus to a B. Then we got the Jaguars, where initially it was like, okay, it's an A minus because Travis Hunter's perfect fit there. It's my favorite fit in the entire draft to Jacksonville, and that's awesome, right? You gave up a lot to get there, a 2, a future 1. I'm like, oh my God. And then you end up fleecing, of course, the freaking Lions. And then you get all this draft capital. And then you get Caleb Ransaw, who used as a safety because you're not putting him at slot. Because you know why? First off, you have Jerrion Jones, but he's already listed as a boundary. But on top of that, you just paid Jordan Lewis. So you're using him as a safety where he belongs. He played slot, but he had some big losses there. And I think it would have been mitigated as a safety. And then Wyatt Milam, talk about an impeccable value for a high floor player. Like, I almost gave this an A+. It's just because, again, you ended up not having a first-round pick next year. I easily could have given this an A+. There's not a player I don't like that you got. So, incredible work there by Gladstone. Hopefully it doesn't get to his head and he just continues to do the best possible way to move up and down the board. Then we got the Colts and start out red hot. Tyler Warren. Love it. Perfect fit. Perfect player. And then you got JT Tuimoloau, which fits hand in glove with, Lou loves his Ohio State defensive ends. Makes a ton of sense. A very good player. And then you got Justin Wally. And it's like, what the hell? I know Justin Wally is like, people say he's a steal of the draft because people thought he was going to go like late day 3. I wasn't a big fan of Justin Wally. I still think he can end up turning out just fine. I'm not going to say he's bad. But at pick 80, there's no reason to draft him. This was an A+ draft, and then you reached on a corner when you didn't need to. That's the problem. There are other positions to fill. There were offensive linemen there. You could have went Jared Wilson that I would have loved, and you didn't. So that's something I have a big issue with. I'm being very generous with the B+, but I like your first 2 picks. The 3rd round pick, I think, was a big whiff. And I said about at number in the mock draft mode. Next team, Houston Texans. Man, didn't have a first round pick, so you traded back with the Giants, acquired a 2/3 as well, one in the future, one this year. And you guys freaking cooked, man. Jaden Higgins off the bat. I mean, Nico Collins, first off, has worked. So you know how to utilize a player like Jaden Higgins. On top of that, Nico Collins gets hurt a lot. You have someone who immediately replaces him and is comped to Nico Collins. Then you trade up for Ariante Ursary. Great move. I mean, you have a lot of redundancy already brought on through free agency. That is exactly what you need for Ursary to grow, and you have everything there for him to really step in and make an impact. Whether it's early, whether it's late, who cares? This is a long-term play, and it's a great move. The kid is awesome. Then we have at pick 79, Jalen Nohl, and you pair him up with Jaden Higgins? With all the injuries that have been going on, it's just awesome to see that the wide receiver core, as decimated as it was, we were saying it was hopeless. You guys end up getting a wide receiver duo that pairs up very well and fills the roles that are open on this team. It's also the 3rd Iowa State receiver that you now have, which is funny. And then you went Jalen Smith. Y'all know how much I love Jalen Smith. He was a top 32 player for me in this class. And people were like, we all kind of thought that he was going to be a day 3 guy. Realistically, that's what I thought as well. And he went at 97. My question is, where is he going to play and get reps? I don't know. But Stingley, Lassiter, Smith, and then in the slot, you also have Pitre. There's going to be something where Jalen Smith's being rotated in, but this guy is awesome. You pair him back up again with Kalen Bullock. And Kalen Bullock was a success last year. I could see Jalen Smith doing just the same. I'm so proud of him. I'm so happy for him. It's great to see. It's great to see. With Braden Swinson falling, it's great to see Jalen Smith rise. Then we got the Titans. Start out with Cam Ward. Great. 52 via trade back. Get a 3rd round pick too. Get Femi Oladejo. He's not going to be a great pass rusher off the bat, but he's growing. He's developing. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be a great run defender off the bat. So you guys are going to be able to have really good early down defense. And then as he continues to grow, your non-early down defense, your pass rush is going to improve noticeably, and I love that. And then Kevin Winston. I mean, the future at safety is certainly open, and Kevin Winston needs time to get back into the game of the NFL after being hurt all year. That's great. Really good value. And he's a very young player, very good player. I did not expect for him to come out, but he ended up coming out. And you guys are the beneficiaries of it. I could have put an A+ here. I honestly should have. Femi Oladejo, I still think, I love him to death. It's still a little early, but outside of that, you guys have done a fantastic job. New Orleans Saints, man. Kelvin Banks was a solid pick to start off. You're getting a good player. I'm a little bit worried about the transition you're going to have to make with Tali Fuaga back to right tackle. We haven't really seen him in the NFL at right tackle. I thought he was successful at left, but I get it. I mean, fortify the offensive line. Never a bad idea. Then you went Tyler Shuck at 40. And I get it, early contributor, but I mean, is he really better than Shadur at 71 or 93? I don't care if Shadur is kind of a douchebag. Tyler Shuck's 26 and has had multiple season-ending injuries. Granted, they're broken bones, so they heal back stronger than they were before, so that's cool. But he's a 26-year-old. You're drafting him at 40. It seems like you're compensating. Not a fan of that at all. I'd prefer for you to go with Spencer Rattler. I don't understand why you'd spend that there. There are a lot of good players. I just don't get it. Vernon Broughton, someone who I'm not super duper high on, but I understand defensive interior. It makes sense. Like, just to me is a bit early. And then Jonas Sanker was a very good move. Honestly, I graded it higher than I believe than Kelvin Banks, but you did just acquire Justin Reed. You have Howden. Like, I don't know where the reps are going to be for Sanker, but I still like him a lot. You got a good player. So happy with how you guys ended up addressing your first and last pick of these first 2 days. Then the Buccaneers, man, weird feeling about this. So Emeka Egbuka off the board immediately. Someone who tests like really high character. He's a damn good guy. But on top of that, I don't know who you're going to be taking reps away from. I didn't think he's going to be carving out too much of a new portion of the offense. I don't think he moves the needle that much. Then you get Ben Morrison in round 2. I'm like, yes. Like, it's good to see that his health is at least not that badly in question. And he ends up going there. And that's a good spot. I mean, corner is certainly an issue. But then you end up going after Jacob Parrish at 84. And I love Jacob Parrish. He was a top 64 guy for me. I think he was number 51 on my board. So I really liked him. But it's like, similar to Emeka Egbuka, who I liked, where are the reps that you are giving this guy? Are you kicking Tyke to safety? Because I thought Tyke was doing a damn good job. He's a forward third round pick. Are you keeping Parrish on the boundary? Like, who's losing the reps, right? That's what I'm concerned with. Now, if it's a clear vision, by all means, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans, please educate me. I am not an expert on the Buccaneers. I would love to be, and you guys are better than I am. I try my best, but you guys are a fan of one team. I'm trying to be a fan of 32. So, by all means, rip me a new one. Don't be a dick about it, but you can feel free to be a dick. So, I still like the players you got. I just don't know if it moves the needle that much. And like, again, you're getting good players. That's a good foundation to have. The Atlanta Falcons end up making another trade, but granted, this one was not very much. You ended up going Jalen Walker, James Pierce. Those were the big blockbuster moves, sent your future one to the Rams. And so a lot of movement there, but you addressed edge. Maybe linebacker and edge. We'll see. But Fontenot knows if he doesn't get pass rush, that's kind of the big area where this team needs it. There's not many other places that you need to put value into. The other spot was safety, and somehow Watts slips. I'm not super duper high on Watts, but this is a damn good location for him to go. And then you guys end up making it happen. So A+, you guys have just done a great job. Feels a lot like the Vikings last year where they ended up giving up a lot, but they ended up getting a lot. And that wasn't how I felt last year about the Falcons, where you started doing the trade up for Rukaroro. You gave up a lot and didn't get a lot. This made sense. So I'm happy that you guys are doing what you're doing. Even though I'm not the biggest Xavier Watts guy, this is the perfect system for him. I think it works out in the long run. Carolina Panthers go Tetro McMillan to start out. It's a really good pick. Just, not the most ground-shaking move on planet Earth. But then you go and trade up for Nick Scorton. Huge fan of that. Nick Scorton was a top 32 player on my board. You guys did an excellent job fixing a need with great value. Then in 77, you're just like, Princely's still here. I mean, edging completely fixed. Let's get more. That's great. You guys got really good value at every single pick and really good impact at every single pick. That's an impactful draft. I was saying about the Browns where I'm like, not seeing many, I'm not seeing the yardage gained in terms of this team getting closer to a Super Bowl team with the amount of picks and value you spent. This is a bit different. This is where I'm like, this checks out. Now let's talk about the Patriots, and I love what you guys are doing. I was a little bit lower on Will Campbell, and I get it, but after seeing him be like, I will fight and I will die to protect Drake May, that got me almost out of my seat. I was like, hell yeah. So I boosted that grade up than what I did yesterday. Then you got Trey Henderson at 38. He's a good compliment to Ramondre Stevenson. So I like that. Good pass protection too. Kyle Williams, love the guy. Jared Wilson, love taking the swing. I should have put this in the A's. Fuck it. I should have been on A-. But this is a damn good class. I still want a little bit more redundancy at tackle, but the tackles went off early. So I understand you went after the best players available that could end up helping out your team. Let's see how the defense ends up going on day 3. Now let's talk about the New York Jets. Start out with Armand Membu. Perfect guy to grow next to Olufashinu. Then at number 42, Mason Taylor, which he's a little bit early, but I understand you have a need. Mason Taylor can end up being like a true tight end 1 if you really think that. I'm not fully there yet, but I understand. At 73, you got a Zaire Thomas as well. Talk about someone who has a lot of potential and needs to just grow under someone who knows how to use their physicality. Maybe Sauce is not the guy he was as a rookie, but he still has part of that in him. And he's going to be a really good mentor. So I love that value in the third. He's young. He's in his 20s. Or he's 20. So I'm super hyped up for y'all for that. The Dolphins, man, it's just spending a third-round pick to get a player, Jonas Savania, who I don't think he moves the needle much more than an Anthony Belton, which Anthony Belton said my guy. But regardless, you could have kept your third-round pick and had some more impact. You guys are not this close to be drafting a guard and a defensive interior to fix your team to where you can compete for a Super Bowl. Very underwhelmed. Very underwhelmed. I'm being very generous with the C grade. They're both players that are good players, but I don't know how impactful this is to the roster. I'm very scared about how the Dolphins are going to handle the rest of the draft. But right now, there is very, very little movement in terms of being a Super Bowl competitor with these guys. The Bills, they go Max Hairston at the start. And honestly, in my opinion, Max Hairston improved, seeing him dap up all these guys as they're going out into the tunnel. I love seeing that. I wasn't super high on him as a player, but this is a really solid fit for him. Then you got TJ Sanders. The move up knocked this from a B to a B minus. I still think it's a good fit. He's a good player. And then Landon Jackson, part of that trade because you gave 2 seconds to get a second and a third, which I've done before as well. So I respect the idea. Landon Jackson, good value there. I ended up having him probably around the 90 range on my board, but fun, explosive, and can grow behind Joey Bosa. So you guys have a very solid draft, probably closer to that B. It's like the B minus, but the positive side of it. Good players, good impact players. All of them should be at least taking some reps, which is a good place to be. Commanders, went Josh Connolly in round 1, Trey Amos in round 2. Both excellent players, both excellent value. Connerly, I don't see the vision myself just yet. I don't understand what the vision is, but Trey Amos, incredible value at 61. You needed a boundary physical corner, and it fits. Like, he's a perfect guy for the role. Incredible steal. Cowboys, I could have put Booker as my least favorite, but when you look at this draft in totality, it's like, you're going to get a weapon on day 3, and you just call this arguably the best draft that's gone on so far. Like, Booker, he's going to be a Pro Bowl / All-Pro guard for you to replace a Pro Bowl / All-Pro / Hall of Fame guard in Zach Martin. That's what he's going to do. And if you kick Tyler Smith back to tackle, you're getting amazing value out of Tyler Smith. Guyton can actually grow as the right tackle that he once was. And then you have a completely solidified offensive line. Hoffman starts, and then you got BB as well. That's where I want y'all to be. If that's not the case, and you're just pretty much starting him over Hoffman, maybe I drop it down to an A. But the vision's still there. Dominic Zaraku, another edge rusher from Philly that's falling that you draft. I love it. The last time you did that was Micah Parsons. But 34-inch arms, high floor, like just somebody that's worth taking at 44. I like it. Number 76, Savone Ravel. I had Savone a lot lower than everybody else, but this is the perfect spot, especially with Diggs in question and all that for the future. You need to continue looking to invest in the corner core because also corners got way more expensive this year. Really, really good job overall by the Cowboys being able to snipe players that end up being able to help out the team in totality. But the Philadelphia Eagles, loved what they did with Jahad Campbell. Do not like what they did with Andrew Makuba. There were better DBs on the board. There were better DBs on the board with the pick they traded to the damn Falcons. All right. Like, value-wise, Watts at in the 90s, way better than Makuba here. Makuba's small. He's a good fit for the Eagles, but at 64, I can't support that. He's a good player. He belongs on the Eagles. He will be valuable. But at 64, you need to provide a lot more than what I think Makuba is going to provide. That's where I have an issue. And then I think Howie tried to trade back to get maybe Charles Grant or somebody, and they got sniped right in front of him. He tried to play 4D chess, move back, and end up getting the guy that you want, and he ended up, just whiffing instead. Not a fan of that. But it just doesn't look like you guys are going to have a good day 3. I'm a little bit worried. It started out with a bang, but I'm really hoping Makuba can make the impact that I don't necessarily think a second rounder would for the safety spot. We'll see. You got the New York Giants here. Abdul Carter did the right thing. 5th-year extension or option on Kayvon Thibodeau. You got a defensive line together for the next 2 years. Then you got Jackson Dart. Not a huge fan of Jackson Dart. You spent 2/3 to move up, but you redeemed yourself because Darius Alexander is an immediate impact. He might be older, but you have a GM and a head coach that don't care about the future. They care about now. They made the best now move. And your defensive line, arguably the best in the NFL. Like, it's up there. Dexter Lawrence, Darius Alexander, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, like Elijah Chapman in there as well. Got to throw out an SMU guy when I can. But you're doing really freaking good. And so I like that bounce back. I'm just not a big guy for trading up for Jackson Dart, even though I understand it and it works. So even with that, I'm having you guys as one of the better grades. I'm being very generous with the B here for the Niners. Started off with a bang. I think Mike Held is a perfect fit. I loved it. I love the vision. Alfred Collins is going to be a good run defender. I'm not super duper high in Alfred Collins. I thought that was a little bit of a reach. Nick Martin, I love the guy. I never, ever, ever thought about him as a day 2 player. He is super small, extremely undersized, short arms. I see the vision. But at 75, it's just like, what the hell? And then Upton Stout's super fun. I like Upton Stout. But again, I should have given this a B-. And honestly, I'm like, in retrospect, it's a B-. Upton, is he playing the slot or is he playing on the boundary? And what's Lenore doing then? Like, if you're going to put him in the slot, are you just drafting your backup slot at 100? Or is he going to compete on the boundary? If he's going to compete on the boundary, it's a small corner. We'll see what happens. So I'm confused about the value to impact role for the whole entire day 2. But day 1, I really, really like what you did. Seahawks, my God, kicking ass. Gray Zabel, perfect fit, big need. Love it. You trade up in the 2nd round and are like, give me my dude. And you just sent a 3rd round pick, like pick 83, if I'm not mistaken, for it. And you get Nick Eamon-Wari, demigod, the beast. And you end up pairing him with Mike McDonald. Like, hell yes. Then at 50, you went Elijah Arroyo. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by that. It's a little early, but that shows that his knee is looking good. The big question was, hey, how is your knee going to hold up? Is your medical going to drop you? Doesn't seem to be the case. And that's awesome to see. He's a vertical threat and something that honestly I don't think you have right now, which is that vertical speed. So I'm excited to see Arroyo on y'all's squad. And then Jalen Milroe. Some people are going to be pissed that you went Jalen Milroe, but I love it because if Jalen Milroe shows promise under Sam Darnold, you're out from Sam Darnold and you have a cheap rookie contract with a high ceiling player there in Milroe. Milroe doesn't work. Oh, well, it's worth the shot because this guy could end up being a legit star. I'm a huge fan of this move. I'm a massive fan of this move. And I think Kubiak, who has experience using Taysom Hill, can utilize Jalen Milroe early as he's developing as a quarterback. Huge fan of what you guys did. Huge fan. I still want you to look at some potential right tackle redundancy, but again, those kind of flew off the board. The Rams, it's a little bit underwhelming. You got Fergie. It's a bit early for him. But then you got Josiah Stewart. And Josiah Stewart, again, a little bit underwhelming. He's undersized. You're kind of betting on him being the odd man out, the exception, not the rule. But he has one of the best run anchors, and he went up against plenty of NFL quality tackles. I think he's going to be fine in the NFL. Josiah Stewart was my number 63 player. Ferguson was probably, I believe, closer to that 90 range. So together, I think it's solid. You got 2 guys that I think together are pretty close to the value of what you're going for. So I'm a fan of that. And then again, Byron Young, I want someone who maybe you can play the exact same role, but can maybe be a little bit better on early downs, which I think Josiah Stewart can do. The Cardinals, talk about a day, man. Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Jordan Birch. I'm just a huge fan of what you guys did. Walter Nolan, your Milton Williams. Will Johnson, just impeccable value. And even if he doesn't end up lasting more than his rookie contract, who gives a shit? You're getting, first off, size. You don't have that in your corner core. Second off, you don't need him to be a straight line athlete. This guy is amazing in zone coverage. You guys, Gannon's going to use him very well. And then Jordan Birch, someone who can play on the inside and kick to the outside and even packages. A dream. Him and Walter Nolan, a dream. I'm so excited for you guys. You guys are killing it in the draft. What terrifies me is what you do normally on day 3. Is that the case? I'm trying to remember. No. It was a 3rd round. It was the first 2 rounds, and then you went like Tip Ryman, Isaiah Adams. So actually, you guys do normally well on day 3. I'm hoping that you guys continue this trend. I'm so excited for y'all. Then you got the Chiefs. Josh Simmons, and an extra pick. Big fan of that. Then he went Omar Norman Lott. I did not think this was possible. Omar Norman Lott has so much room to grow. He doesn't have a ton of experience, but he's a damn good player. I'm so excited to see him be mentored by the best of the best for what Omar Norman Lott should be able to do. Ashton Gillette, or Galote, I'm not 100% sure how to say it. I should have listened a little better. I was yapping. That's on me. But he's a pocket buster. That's a really fun player in Spags defense. Don't know if it's really worth pick 66, but I think for Spags, it works out very well. And I think he's a top 100 player on my board. He was like 98, 99. That ends up working out for me. So really good job overall. The Chargers started out with getting Amari and Hampton falling to y'all. I mean, amazing value, a top 10 player on my board. And then you got Trey Harris, and Trey Harris is not a bad pick. Please, do not say, look at the least favorite and say, oh my God, you don't like Trey Harris? No. Bring something to the team that you did not have before. However, there was some health concern, the fact he missed the Shrine Bowl, and he did miss some time this year. We'll just put that out there. So without that concern, he was like a top 90, top 80 player on my board. He was just right there around about spot 110 for me. So it's just a little bit higher than where I feel comfortable pushing that reach point, but I still think he brings something to the team that you guys don't have, and that is a really good addition. He is not a school wide receiver. That's on me. That is Ole Miss. But Jamari Caldwell, we'll just get through this quickly. Get some beef on the interior. Losing Poona Ford sucks. It's a little bit early for Caldwell, but I still like it nonetheless. That will be fixed tomorrow. I'm too tired to do it in the middle of the video. But for the Las Vegas Raiders, because we're so close to the end, starting out with Ashton Jeanty, I love it. I mean, the fact is, when you're looking at this in retrospect, you're like, hell yes, okay? Big fan of this. So I could have given this an A+ draft. Probably should have, but, we'll talk about it in a second. Jeanty's going to be Marshawn Lynch for you. Incredible. Jack Bash, y'all know it. He's top 10 player. I think he might have ended up being number 11 on my board. He's my wide receiver 1. I know I shouldn't have had him there, but I just think he's incredible, and I think he's going to be great for the Raiders. So you get a potential wide receiver 1, great kid, looked like he was super happy to go there. Darian Porter's next. You need a boundary corner, and this guy's going to absolutely light it up for you. DeCamry Richardson, Jacorian Bennett. For a crappy corner core, finding your probably corner 1 at 68 is ludicrous, but y'all did it. And then at 98 and 99, you went Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant, both of which are developmental, but Caleb Rogers, I'm not mistaken, he's a team captain, right tackle as well, but will be a guard in the NFL. Amazing run blocker, a tone setter. Him and JPJ are going to be incredible at just pissing off and terrifying defensive interiors. I don't know if he ends up ever getting starting reps, but talk about an amazing backup to have that will punish everybody in front of him. I'm really excited for this. I'm pissed that I did not give him a full grade because I did not think of him being able to go this high. If I did, that's on me. Should have done it. Did not. Charles Grant, I believe in a lot less, but this is a spot where I don't think he needs to make an immediate impact. This is a long-term play, and I like the fact that he's there. So overall, big fan of what you guys did. I mean, people had Charles Grant in their top 50. I respect it. Then let's end this off with the Denver Broncos. Unfortunately, we're not ending off on a high note, but Jahdae Barron. Jahdae Barron's a really good pick. I ended up warming up to it as time goes on, so it is what it is. Ended up not loving it in the moment, but having good DBs is never a bad idea. Then you have RJ Harvey, and RJ Harvey was a reach, in my opinion. It was a reach. He's a fun player, but you could have traded back and gotten him, or, there's a lot of day 3 backs that I think are competitive, if not better than RJ Harvey. At number 74, Pat Bryant. Really solid receiver. Not a day 2 guy. He did not test well, did not separate well, but he is built to be a really solid wide receiver 5 or 6. I'm happy with that. I think he will be a good player. It's just at pick 74, I wanted more. And then at pick 101, Savion Jones. Arguably could have been the least favorite pick of mine, but high motor guy. He's going to be that Zach Allen role. I hope that he ends up being better than what he was at LSU. He showed some flashes. I hope the consistency improves. That's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Peace.